What's up, guys? Welcome to a new adventure here in the Segovia World Challenge. Well, not challenge, project. See, I'm a little nervous. This is the first edition of a new project that I want to start. Welcome to Cinema House, um, a branch of the Segovia World Challenge. Challenge. Why did I keep saying challenge? A branch of the Segovia World Channel. I think that's what I was trying to say. Um, 2026, I want to have different projects. I want to try different projects out. I want to try different things. These are all things that I've been wanting to do that I just haven't had either the courage to do it or the motivation/inspiration to do it. But it's 2026. It's a new year, and some things have kind of happened that have inspired this and kind of really pushed me to just say, you know what, just do it. Just shouldn't care what people think. You shouldn't be embarrassed or nervous, and just do what you want to do. Just do what makes you happy. And creating content is something that makes me happy. That's always made me happy. I consume a lot of content online on YouTube, which is where you're watching this, and a lot of the people that I look up to are on YouTube and do similar format to this. So, which is why I started a YouTube channel a while ago. I haven't been consistent. I've been very bad at it and keeping up with it. I've made some videos. There's some videos up there, some vlogs, some family vlogs, some trip travel vlogs that I like. Um, Sorry, and I want to keep making vlogs. I want to keep traveling. I want to keep going to Disneyland, Disney World, Orlando, California, New York, which is one of the most recent vlogs and trips that I went on with my brother. I want to keep doing all that. I want to be more consistent with the vlogs and the videos. But I also, if I can't travel all the time and if I can't do that all the time, I can at least do something like this, more of like this is kind of like a at home vlog slash podcast style project. This is going to be called Cinema House. This is episode 1 of Cinema House. um, One of the reasons why I called it Cinema House is because I want to keep it in the branch of Segovia World, which is where I've started another project called Football House, which is a soccer podcast. It's completely in Spanish with my cousin as a co-host, where we just talk about soccer. If you speak Spanish and if you like soccer, that's something that you might enjoy. That's going to be all under the same channel, but I'll separate it into different playlists. Um, so there'll be like the Football House branch, which is like all the soccer podcasts, and then there's going to be the Cinema House branch, which will be where I talk about mostly movies, but a lot of pop culture stuff, and then just also just catching up with you guys and just filling you guys in on what's going on, maybe some future projects or future travel and stuff like that. But maybe basically just talking to you guys about the stuff that I enjoy, the stuff that I've been consuming, watching, listening to, etc. Maybe music too. Um, and I'm excited. I'm excited. I do want this to be as natural as possible. I think that's my favorite format. I want the people that I like to watch. It's just very natural. Um, so if life gets in the way, then life gets in the way. And whatever. But yeah, I don't want to do the intro. I don't. I know this intro has been long, but long story short, I just want to do the stuff that I want to do, and I don't want to care about overthinking things. I've let too much time go where I have not done the things that I wanted to do, and this is something that I love. I love movies. I love YouTube. I love being able to analyze things that I watch or listen to and stuff, and I want to share that with you guys. And if any of you care, amazing, thank you. That's the best. That's all I can ask for. If you don't care, that's also fine. That's better than fine. This is not going to be for everybody. But anyways, sorry to drag that out. Cinema House, episode number 1 right now. I don't know what the format's going to look like moving forward. It could just be this, just me in this room. This is one of my rooms here at the house that I kind of get to decorate like I want to. I've got Funko Pops right in front of me, soccer posters, classic rock and roll posters, The Doors. I've got some posters behind me, a bunch of soccer jerseys, Disney stuff, Taylor Swift, a little bit of everything. Timothy Chalamet, Complete Unknown. I've got a Marty Supreme poster that I got for Christmas that my wife gave me for Christmas. I've got books all over the floor. But this is one of my rooms. It's messy, but it is what it is. It's the reality. Again, I don't want to fake anything. This is the reality of what it is. There's laundry everywhere, which I'm not going to show you, but there's laundry all over the floor. But yeah, Cinema House. Sometimes we could maybe vlog us going to the movies and doing a vlog. Going to see a movie. There actually is one vlog where. Well, actually, there's a couple of vlogs in the Segovia World channel where I went to go see Sinners with my parents. There's one where I went to go see a couple of Disney movies with my daughter. They're all up there. Maybe more stuff like that for Cinema House. But anyways, episode 1. I do want to get started with my favorite movies of 2025. Okay, I've made this list. I make this list throughout the year, and then I adjust it as the year goes by and new movies come out and stuff. Now, there are a lot of movies that I didn't see. I did see a lot of movies. We do watch a lot of movies at home. We go to the theater a lot, a lot. Shout out to AMC, A-List, Stubs, A-List, whatever it's called. Shout out to that. That's great. We use it a lot. We go to the movies as a family. Sometimes we go to the movies on a date, just my wife and I. And we also do solo movie days where I go to the movies by myself, or my wife goes to the movies by herself. Because that's, we love movies. That's why we're here. So there are a lot of movies that I didn't see. As much as I try and as much as I want to see everything that comes out, you can't, because just there's stuff going on, right? So, but these are I saw a lot of movies. I did see a lot of movies, and these are my favorite. Okay, honorable mention number. I always do 1 through 11. I started this in 2024 when I got Letterboxd in 2023. 2024 was my first official list, but I did a number 11 because I feel like it's already hard enough to do just 10. But 11 is like the honorable mention, and that's Predator Badlands. Okay, I dragged my wife and daughter to see this movie. They didn't want to go, but I thought they would like it. I heard it was good, and it was good. I really enjoyed it. It was fun. It was entertaining. I liked the story. And my wife and daughter didn't like it, but I loved it. I thought it was a great movie. Um, but yeah, honorable mention: Predator, Badlands. Number 10, Twinless. I feel like that has gone under the radar a lot, but I did want to go see that movie since I saw the trailer. Then I went to go see it, and it didn't disappoint. In fact, I completely exceeded my expectations. It could even be higher on the list. It just doesn't get talked about enough. But Twinless, I definitely recommend that movie. You should go watch that. Number 9, Begonia. Loved Begonia. Loved Begonia. Just I was so intrigued by that movie. I just was sitting on the edge of my seat, just not even I just felt anxious the whole time. I didn't know where the movie was gonna go. I didn't know what was gonna happen. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know where it was going at any point, you know, in the beginning, in the middle, and you know, in the final act. I still didn't know. I was so confused, but I loved that about that movie, you know. Begonia number nine, number eight, Weapons. I'm not the most, you know, my wife is a big horror movie fan, you know, can name any or quote any horror movie thing, whatever, you know, any horror scary movie that comes out, she wants to go see it. That's not my cup of cup of tea, but Weapons, I loved. You know, I'm a little more picky when it comes to horror films. Like I do enjoy some and I do love some and I do watch a lot, but I am very picky and I'm very, you know, selective of the ones I watch. Weapons, I just loved so much. I loved just sitting through that movie and just being just completely sucked into the story. Similar to Begonia, just not knowing where the movie was gonna go and just feeling creeped out the whole time and also excited about what was gonna happen next. You know, um, good characters. Weapons number eight for sure. It's hard for me to include like a horror movie in the top 10 of the year, but Weapons, you know, you just cannot deny how good that movie was. Number eight. Number seven was Thunderbolts. Uh, Not a huge Marvel fan coming into this year, but this year kind of switched that around for me. I haven't, not that I'm not a Marvel fan. I just am not. I'm not an OG Marvel fan. You know, I'm not gonna fake here like you know you know, oh yeah, like Avengers this and that. Like I've always been more of a DC fan. I'm not, and I say this because from a nostalgia point of view, like I grew up loving Batman and I grew up watching uh, Batman Returns, Batman Forever, Batman and Robin. Like those movies are kind of what I mean by that. By I'm more of a DC guy, you know, more from like back in the day. I never really got into Marvel. I've never been as a young boy. I was never really like, oh, I love Iron Man. I love Hulk. You know, I always loved Batman. You know, and so it's kind of what you know. I grew up wanting Batman action figures and stuff like that. So I that's just kind of what, you know, on this in the superhero DC versus Marvel. I've always leaned more DC. So never been a huge Marvel fan. But anyways, finishing that rant, this year Marvel for me was a good year, even though people would say, you know, Marvel's going, you know, the OG Marvel fans are like, you know, Marvel's coming down, you know, we've had great movies, Iron Man, Thor, all those movies that already passed, Avengers, Endgame, and all those, you know, classic movies. And now Marvel's kind of going downhill a little bit. Well, for me, it's been the other way around. Now that people are hating on it a little more, or like don't, or like it less, I've actually given it more of a chance and went out to go see. Uh, for example, Fantastic Four was another movie that is not in my top 10, but I enjoyed that movie a lot, and I liked. There's a lot of things about that movie that I enjoyed and I liked, and but Thunderbolts was kind of the first. You know, I went to go see Thunderbolts because I was intrigued by the characters. I was intrigued by a new story, just a new set of, you know, and I not entirely new characters. You know, we've seen those characters before, some of them, but I was intrigued and I just was not disappointed. I loved kind of like a darker story, and I'd like to see where they go with all these characters. I know obviously Doomsday is coming out this year, which now I'm excited for. There's, you know, this new generation of Marvel lore, and you know, excited to see where it goes. But Thunderbolts was a lot of fun for me. You know, number seven on there. Number six is Avatar: Fire and Ash. You know, it's not much to say other than Avatar for me is Avatar. I became a huge fan of Avatar after the way of I, you know, I love the first one. I recognize it as a great movie. But then, you know, between going to Disney World and going to Pandora there at Animal Kingdom, and then The Way of Water comes out and we go see that, you know, with the family, and in fact My daughter and I went to go see that multiple times, and you know that's another thing that I do want to say about the way that I rank movies and stuff is a lot of it has to do with like the memories that go along with it. Like for example, like my daughter loved Thunderbolts. We went to go see it twice together. My daughter loved Fantastic Four. Again, that's not in the top 10, but I enjoyed it because of that as well. Avatar is another kind of movie that my daughter and I go see together, and so that experience kind of definitely plays a role in my rankings. I do enjoy them also. They're good movies, but there's also kind of like that like experience of going and seeing a movie with your daughter, and not only once but twice or three times. You know, plays a role. But Fire and Ash, that's still out in theaters. I'm not gonna talk about it much, but you know, if you can have the opportunity to go see it in theaters in like a big format like IMAX or Dolby, you know, definitely recommend it. How to Train Your Dragon, the live action number five. Again, like I was saying, kind of tied into that's my daughter's favorite animated movie is the How to Train Your Dragon trilogy, and to see it kind of come to life and have it be as good as it was, you know, flawless execution of a uh, animated movie going into live action. How to Train Your Dragon number five. Number four. Let me see where we're at with time. Okay. I just don't want to. I feel like I don't want to talk too much. This is the first episode. I don't want to drag it more than it should. There's still got a list of a bunch of topics that I was supposed to cover today, but I feel like I'm going kind of slow. Like this is gonna end up being a 3 hour episode, which is not what I intended. So I'll try to keep it short. How to Train Your Dragon number five, F1 number four, Sinners number three, One Battle After Another number two, and number one, Marty Supreme, which out of all of these is the latest one that I've seen, but it was for me undeniably number one. And that is the second year in a row that Timothy Chalamet is at number one. Last year, Complete Unknown was my number one, my favorite movie of 2024. I love the movie, but I'm also a big Bob Dylan fan. So again, those things play a role, and I thought he did a good job playing Bob. So you know, that was I you know super enjoyed that movie. The fact that he sings live and sang the way that he sang and just basically turned into Bob was incredible for me. But and then this year, you know, he did it again with Marty Supreme. You know, one of these things that I take into consideration as well is that you know Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, Sinners, F1. A lot of these on the list are original movies. You know, they're not a rebrand or a the only one, for example, How to Train Your Dragon obviously gets the adaptation from the animation to the live action. But all of these are original films, original stories. They're not, you know, something that is being remade, which I'm not opposed to that. I'm not a hater on that kind of stuff, but I do enjoy something fresh. I do enjoy going to the movies, sitting down with my snacks or my Taco Bell that I maybe I shouldn't say it. I don't sneak it in actually. Um, uh, and just relaxing and just about to experience something that you've never seen before. You know that's what I like about going to the movies is you're gonna see something that where you don't know where that ride is gonna take you. You don't know how you're gonna feel. It's literally like a ride. You're going through a ride of emotions, of feelings, of excitement, anxiety. You know, you feel all those things, and so I really appreciate just new stories being made, like Sinners, like the ride. That's the top three: Sinners, One Battle After Another, Marty Supreme. Was hard on where I was gonna put him. You know, Sinners was the first one that came out of those three. I remember going to the movies and seeing Sinners and experiencing that movie and just that to me, that's what going to the movies is like, that feeling of, just enjoying something and being there along for the ride. I loved it so much that then I recommended it to my parents, and then we went to go see it together. And I knew that it was like a 50-50 on whether they were going to like it or not. It wasn't like, hey, this movie's great, you're going to love it, come see it with me. It was like, hey, this movie's great, it's weird, and I mean, my parents are, they've got different taste in things than I do. So I was like, it's a risk, but I want them to see this. So I brought mom and dad, and my mom hated it, and my dad, he either loved it or he understood it and enjoyed it. He did see it as something quality, something good. I don't know if he loved it. I think he might have, but he did enjoy it and he did like it. He did see the goodness in the movie, the quality of it. My mom just hated it, which I kind of predicted it. Um, but one battle after another, just another, what a ride. Like that's what I'm talking about. It's a ride. I can't describe it as anything other than like you're sitting, you're enjoying, you're eating, you're drinking a Coke or whatever, and you just we'll see what happens. And one battle after another was just a crazy ride. And same for Marty Supreme. I'm a big Timothy Chalamet fan. I've in the last couple of years, because of different roles he's played and just the way that he promotes his movies, I've become a fan. And Marty Supreme. I've been looking forward to this movie for a little over a year, since I knew he was filming it and he would talk about it, and just his excitement and how he talks about the movies and the projects that he's in. Um, I like that about him. He's excited. You can tell that he loves his job. He loves what he does. He's excited about what he does and the movies that he's in. And Marty Supreme was great. That's also like Avatar. Marty Supreme is still in theaters. It's still out right now. So if you get a chance to go watch that, I recommend that. Okay, I was gonna talk about the Golden Globes, and that was gonna be like the main topic. But I feel like my favorite movies of 2025 has already been kind of the main topic. So I don't want to go. I don't want to just again. I feel like I talk a lot more than I thought I was going to. But I'm just gonna go over these real quick. We're gonna go over the categories, and the reason why I want to go over it is because I do want to say some movies that I still would like to go see that I haven't had a chance to see, and I want to see them before the Oscars and all that. Best motion pic. These are the Golden Globes that were last night, Sunday. I'm filming this on a Monday. Hopefully it goes live. Today is Monday, January 12th. The Golden Globes were yesterday, Sunday. Um, Best motion picture drama, Hamnet. That's a movie I want to go see. Best motion picture musical or comedy, One Battle After Another. Best motion picture animated, K-pop Demon Hunters. I did see that. Um, there was like a month or two where my daughter was super into it. She doesn't like it now. In fact, she kind of hates it now. But we actually went to the movies to go see K-pop Demon Hunters, and we had a good time. It's a good movie. It's a good animated movie. I like it. Best motion picture non-English, Secret Agent. I haven't seen that. Best performance, female actor in a motion picture, Hamnet, Jessie Buckley. Haven't seen Hamnet. Let's keep looking at some of these categories here. Talk about some that we've seen. Best performance by a male actor in a motion picture, musical, or comedy. Timothy Chalamet won for Marty Supreme. That category was stacked. Leo for One Battle After Another. This one I wanted either Timothy to win or Jesse Plemons from Begonia. I thought Begonia, he was great in that. Um, some other ones that stand out. There's another movie that I really want to see, Sentimental Value. I haven't seen it. It's a Norwegian film. That's been on my watch list for the past couple months. I still have to see that. Hamnet, Sentimental Value. Um, there's another one that that I haven't seen that I want to see. But Thomas Anderson, he won a bunch of one battle after another, won a bunch of awards last night, which is um, well deserved. Best screenplay, best director, all for PTA. One battle after another. I'm going these a lot quicker than I was originally planning to, but that's okay. Best original motion picture, Golden, K-pop Demon Hunters, great movie, great songs, catchy soundtrack. Um, Best television series drama, The Pit. Haven't seen The Pit. This is another one that I was rooting for, either The White Lotus or Pluribus. I haven't finished Pluribus, but it's great. I don't need to finish it to know that it's amazing. Um, Best television series, musical or comedy, The Studio. One of my, if not my favorite show of the year. See, I do the rankings for the movies, but maybe I need to start doing rankings for shows too. But definitely a lot more movie focused than TV. I don't watch as many shows as I do movies, but The Studio was probably my favorite show of 2025. Um, so glad that won. Adolescence won a bunch of awards too. I didn't see that show. Let's see. Yeah, The Pit won a couple. Who else do I want to talk about? Seth Rogen The Studio won a couple of awards. Best performance by a male actor in a television series, musical or comedy. Seth Rogen for The Studio, and this category was also pretty uh, stacked. I wasn't necessarily rooting for Seth Rogen. I was rooting for The Studio as a show, but I did think that some other actors maybe deserved it more in this one. You got Adam Brody and Nobody Wants This, Glenn Powell and Chad Powers, Jeremy Allen White and The Bear, Martin Short and Steve Martin in Only Murders in the Building, and then Seth Rogen for The Studio. I think The Studio is a great show. I can't argue with The Studio winning anything. In fact, I want them to win stuff, but I think that I don't know about Seth Rogen specifically being a better actor in that show than these other people in the category. But again, it's not to say he's not great. He is great. The Studio is a great show. Don't get me wrong. Let's see. I'm just gonna wrap it up here. Just gonna go through these real quick again. Yeah, the Adolescents just won a bunch of awards. Um, Best podcast, Good Hang with Amy Poehler. I'm not a fan of that category. Yeah, Golden Globes were last night. Those were some of the winners. Um, Happy for PTA. Happy for One Battle After Another. Anything they win is deserved. Happy for Timothy Chalamet for getting the recognition that he deserves for the roles he's been playing. Excited about that. Um, the only one I was a little bit disappointed with was let me see what I didn't see that category. The one that it was Diego Luna for Andor. I think that whatever category he was in, I am being a little biased since Diego Luna is the here it is. It's best performance by a male actor in a television series drama. I have two things to say. First of all, Andor wasn't nominated for best drama show. Like that's crazy to me. Unless no, unless I was thinking if it would have been nominated in 2024, but I think it was 2025 that it came out. Um, so Andor should have been as a show nominated way more. But Diego Luna was nominated for best performance by a male actor in a television series drama. Adam Scott for Severance, Diego Luna for Andor, Gary Oldman for Slow Horses, Mark Ruffalo for Task, Noah Weil for The Pit. That's who won. and Sterling Brown for Paradise. Now, obviously, it's a stacked category. Mark Ruffalo, Adam Scott. The winner, Noah Weil. I haven't seen The Pit. I've heard great things about it, but I haven't seen it. But I did see Andor, and I know sometimes it's easier to pick just the ones that you've seen. Obviously, you're going to root for those, but I mean, if you're a Star Wars fan, you know that Andor is the best thing. It's arguably the best Star Wars content, the best Star Wars just thing that's ever been created. You know, um, at least since, at least in a long, long time. Um, and that second season of Andor was incredible. Diego Luna is amazing, and I think that he should have won, but oh well. All right, the next thing we're gonna talk about is the Lord of. Oh, dude, I'm looking over my notes, so I'm kind of reading out loud. The Lord of the Rings. Why are we gonna talk about Lord of the Rings? Um, because not only is it about to be the 25th anniversary of, I think, the Fellowship of the Ring coming out, but it just so happens that I haven't seen Lord of the Rings in years. I can't. I'm not even gonna try to estimate how long it's been since I've seen Lord of the Rings, but it's been a long, long time. And we'll even go further back than that to when it came out. I was in middle school, and okay, so I just realized that this whole time I have been recording, and I'm not gonna start over, but I didn't have my mic on. I didn't. I had it on. You saw it in the video. I was wearing it, but I didn't turn it on. So therefore, the audio was was okay. I guess it was the normal camera audio, but I didn't have the mic on, which was the whole thing. So now the audio is not going to be as planned, but oh well. So if it sounds different now, that's why. Now the microphone's on. But anyways, Lord of the Rings. These are the things that'll happen. This is my first day at the job. This is my first time doing this, so got to get everything in order. But we'll get the hang of it. Lord of the Rings. So I'm gonna go back to when I first saw these movies. I never read the books. These are, I'm going to keep it real with you guys in this channel. I never read the books. Still have, to this day, have not read the books. But I was a big fan of the movies back in 2001 when I was in middle school. I watched, obviously, all of them as they came out. Became a big fan of the movies. I was really young. I was maybe 13, 14, around there. And then, I remember my brother watched them, and my dad really liked them too. And then, I enjoyed them a lot for all those years. And then I kind of just, in a way, forgot about that trilogy. Eventually down the road, I got really into Star Wars. I got really into other, big IPs, big kind of movies and stuff. But Lord of the Rings just kind of got a little bit forgotten. And then I got married, and we had our daughter and everything. And I think throughout, because we watch a lot of movies, and now as my daughter starts to grow up, her taste in movies is constantly changing, and like what she wants to watch is constantly changing. It's not as easy as when she was younger and we could just like play something and we would hope that she would like it. Now she's got an opinion. Now she either wants to watch it or doesn't. She's very opinionated like that. And also, my wife and I have different tastes, and it's not so much as different tastes in movies. It's just we're in different wavelengths on a set day about what we want to watch that day. Like she could be feeling a rom-com, which I can enjoy, but maybe that day I just am not feeling a rom-com. Or maybe one day I want to watch Lord of the Rings. And even though she would like it, maybe that day she just doesn't want to watch that and wants to watch a horror movie or
or something easier. So it's kind of like that. That's something that's my excuse for why, at least in the last couple of years, I haven't watched it. I feel like I've tried to get them to watch it. And another thing is that they're so long, right? So they're so long. So when you have a family and everybody's got to be in sync as far as to like being able to commit to something for like 3 to 4 hours. And that's just one. You got to get through three of them. So I understand, but there has been a little that has played a little role in why it's taken me so long to rewatch these. So I've had to make time for myself to watch these because they're so long. But it I watched all three of them in the last week, and I've got to say, I'm all in. I'm all back in now. I have to go. I'm excited. So I'm saying this out of excitement because I'm fresh out of just. Penelope, my daughter hasn't wanted to watch it. My wife hasn't wanted to watch it. That's okay. I still, now that I've rewatched them, I definitely want to now. I'm gonna try harder now to convince them to watch it because they both would love it. I want them, and I want them to experience what I just experienced. Which, again, I don't know if it's just the excitement talking, but I feel like it's the best. In my opinion, and for me, I think it's the best trilogy that I've ever seen, and I've got to sit down and think about all the trilogies that I've seen, but I think it's a perfect, perfect story, perfect trilogy. Again, I haven't read the books. I don't know if I will or not. I do like to read. In fact, I'm reading, let me show you guys what I'm reading right now. I'm reading Future Boy, Michael J. Fox. So I'm reading this right now. Uh, I don't know if I'll ever read Lord of the Rings. I would like to, maybe I will. But man, those movies were incredible. And I want to get super deep into like the I don't know, behind the scenes footage, bonus footage of how it was filmed, but it feels like it was filmed so it looks incredible, and it's got great visuals, and it's got great worlds and lands, and you know just a super fantasy world. It looks incredible, but it also looks like it was filmed in, it came out in 2001, so it also looks like it was done very raw, very like guerrilla style, just I guess what I'm trying to say is without a lot of CGI and special effects and crazy stuff like that, like you can see in movies now. It feels a lot more real. Like it feels a lot more just people wearing costumes and people acting and people, actually them walking on a huge mountain and stuff, as opposed to like a green screen and stuff like that. It feels like that to me. I don't know if that's the case, but it feels a lot more raw and real like that. It does feel like it's a real world as opposed to like, oh, well, that's just CGI background, CGI character, CGI whatever, or like green screen. It doesn't feel like that at all. And again, forgive me if that's common knowledge. I don't know, but it just feels. I like the way it looks because it looks real, But that's just the aesthetic part of it, the story, the actors, the characters, man, the characters. I was just talking to my brother about this. My brother was like, "Hey, yeah, I remember when we used to watch them and when we were really into them. Your favorite character?" He was saying my favorite character was Legolas, and that is I put myself in that time, in that era of me being 13, 14. That absolutely would be my favorite character. Um, because I know that that would be my favorite character. So he's spot on with that. Uh, but now watching it now as as a dad, as a husband, as being older, my favorite character. Well, I mean, it's hard to pick. As I was talking to him, we were naming all the characters. How can you leave out this character and how can you leave out this character? But if I have to pick one, it would be Sam. Samwise. It would 100% be Sam. He's my favorite character. He's the MVP of the trilogy. How could you deny that? He doesn't have a rough, bad moment in the whole series, in the whole trilogy, the whole series. He doesn't have a moment where you doubt him. He doesn't have a moment where you don't see the good intentions that he has. In fact, I feel like the way that he is and his personality and his role kind of makes the kind of like the Frodo character and like the way that people see Frodo as like, dude, what are you doing? Maybe like criticizing his character. A lot of it is because of how Sam is, how good he is. Not that Frodo's not good. Frodo's also good, but just how almost perfect Samwise is as a friend, as a companion, as a loyal friend. Who wouldn't want to have a friend like that? It just makes Frodo's character, even though he's not a bad guy, it makes him look like, dude, Frodo, what are you saying? What are you doing, man? Just, but yeah, Sam is my favorite character. Of course, Legolas is amazing and awesome. The whole Fellowship is great. Gandalf is great. Then you've got the villains who are great. The little characters, the orcs, everybody that just kind of is in the movie is needed. There's not like there's no extras. There's no throwaway characters that you could do without. But the story, man, I don't know if I have a three. If I have a favorite of the three, I don't know if I think the Fellowship of the Ring has to be my favorite because it got me so good in that because I went into it saying like, okay, I'm going to try to rewatch these, but it was more like I'm going to watch the first one, I'm going to watch the Fellowship, and then we'll see how it goes, but it's like I couldn't stop after that. That movie ended and I immediately started Two Towers, and then I was invested, like super invested. So yeah, and then it just so happens that after I watch it, a lot of things start coming out. That gets the 25th anniversary. In fact, this weekend it's going to be playing in theaters. All of the movies are going to be in theaters this weekend, which I feel like I'm going to try to go, but weekends are busy for me. I coach a bunch of soccer teams, so weekends are a busy time for me. But I hope that I can get to go at least see one in theaters. And then because of the 25th anniversary, a lot of the cast are doing a bunch of different conventions this year. In fact, the Fan Expo here in DFW, I think it's going to be in September. They already have like the meet and greet packages and stuff for they actually have all four hobbits. They have Merry, Pippin, Frodo, Sam, the actors, all of those actors, Elijah Wood, Sean Astin. I don't know the names of the other two, but they'll be at Fan Expo and they'll be at a bunch of other conventions throughout the year. I don't know if any other I'm sure other characters will be around, but those are the four that I did see. You could get photo ops, you could get autographs, and you can do them individually or you can do them in a group. And I think I'm going to do it, but again, like last year, I said I was going to do the Back to the Future one and meet Michael J. Fox and everything. And then we actually ended up going on a trip. So we couldn't make it, but But I would love, love, love to meet. I would love to just keep deep diving with Lord of the Rings stuff and lore, and definitely going to rewatch them. Definitely going to watch the Hobbit movies. Maybe read the books and just go full on Lord of the Rings this year, 2026, and then have it cap off with meeting the cast eventually later on this year. Getting to meet them, maybe I don't know, maybe get either an autograph or actually, you know what, a signed poster would be awesome. Like if I buy a big post, like if I buy a poster, and then just have the four of them there, sign them, and then just frame that poster with all the signatures on them, the autographs on the poster, and then just put it somewhere up here. That would be awesome. But then you got to get a picture too. You know, I'd love to get the picture of him with Elijah Wood, and Sean Astin is a great actor. He's in a lot of stuff that I've seen, and I've just seen him in a lot of stuff. So I'd love to meet him. But yeah, that'll be cool. Fan Expo. Hopefully we get to do that. I'm gonna wrap it up here because it's got, like I said, I kind of go on these rants. It's gone on too long. I do have a bullet point of all the stuff I wanted to talk about. There's a lot more. Lord of the Rings was just the third thing. You know, like we got into the favorite movies of 2025. Then we got into the Golden Globes. Lord of the Rings, there's 4 or 5, and then some extra stuff. We'll save that for the next little episode. We'll wrap it up today. Hope you guys enjoyed Cinema House #1. Got some more things to talk about, so might be another video later in the week. I don't know how I'm going to structure it yet, if it's going to be once a week, twice a week. We'll figure it out. You know, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Cinema House. Thank you guys for listening to me. Thank you guys for caring. Again, this is not going to be for everybody, but if you enjoyed this, I appreciate it. All right, that's going to wrap it up. Be kind. Stay kind. Do something nice for yourself today, you know? And not, you know, like going to the movies is something nice that I like to do for myself. I you know, it makes me feel good, it makes me happy. Do something nice for yourself. You know, I feel like not enough people do that. It's good to feel good. You know, you deserve to do it. So do something nice for yourself today, guys. Segovia out.